it's Emma. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys 10 ways that you can travel for free or for very little money. I feel like there is still a big misconception about travelling, that you have to have a lot of money to go travelling, that only certain people can go travelling, and all those kind of thoughts that were probably true in the past, but nowadays there's so many new different ways that you can travel, and I feel like a lot of people still don't know about these because whenever I bring them up in conversation, some of them I've done myself, the majority of the time when I'm speaking to people they've never heard of them before, so I thought it'd be useful to put them all in a video and then hopefully it will help some of you guys. But before I get into the 10 tips, I wanted to take a minute to tell you guys about Safety Wing travel insurance, which I have mentioned on my channel before. So the Safety Wing Digital Nomad insurance is the one that I used on my last backpacking trip in South America, and I would definitely use it again on an upcoming trip. Just to remind you guys, my favourite thing about Safety Wing travel insurance is that it is incredibly flexible. With the majority of insurance, you have to be very specific with things like how long you're going for, what countries you're going to, when you're going to be back in your home country. And this last time when I flew out to South America, I was on a one-way ticket. I didn't know exactly when I was coming back. I wasn't sure which countries I was going to be going to. How it works is you pay monthly, pay as you go. You can cancel it whenever you need. So if you guys would like to find out more about Safety Wing's insurance, I'm going to leave a link in the top of the description box. Definitely go check it out if you have any trips coming up. And now let's go ahead and get into my 10 tips on how to travel for less. Number one way to travel for free or for less money is to be an au pair abroad. This is one of my top things that I recommend to people to do. I've done this twice myself. So my first time ever going to live abroad was when I was an au pair for a family in Madrid. This was back in the summer of 2019. And then my second time being an au pair was in Paris 2 years later. So in the summer of 2021, I lived in Paris with a French family and I was an au pair for them. Both times that I was an au pair, I loved my experience. Obviously, like anything in life, it does have its ups and downs, its challenges. If you guys would like me to do a separate video talking about being an au pair and the kind of experiences that I had, let me know and I can definitely do that. But just to give you like a really quick summary of what it is, because whenever I say to people that I was an au pair, I lived in Madrid and I lived in Paris, they don't know what an au pair is. I feel like in the UK it's not a super common thing, whereas in Europe it's very common for families to have au pairs. So basically an au pair is sort of like a nanny. So you go to live with a family in Europe or wherever you choose, basically be like an older sibling to the kids. The specific things that you do will depend on the family that you're going to and what kind of schedule they lay out for you, but usually it's things like taking the kids to school, doing the homework, speaking English with them. That's the main thing that they want, is you to speak English around the kids so that they can get that kind of exposure. And in exchange for being the family's au pair, you get to live there for free, so free accommodation, you get free food, you get a weekly allowance, and the website that I recommend you guys use to find a host family is called Au Pair World. I'll leave a little link in the description box to all the websites that I mentioned. Number two is by volunteering abroad or doing a work exchange, and the website that I recommend you guys use is Worldpackers. I am doing ongoing work with Worldpackers, so I've got a discount code for you guys if you want to save some money on their membership, and I'll leave that on screen and in the description box. But basically via Worldpackers you can find volunteering opportunities all around the world, and it can be anything from volunteering in a hostel to teaching yoga. So many different opportunities in countries all around the world, and in exchange for volunteering you receive perks like free accommodation, free food, and maybe other benefits as well. When I was volunteering in a hostel in Costa Rica this year with Worldpackers, I got all of those things, and I also got discounted and free tours, which was really useful because Costa Rica was a super expensive country, so I saved a lot of money by doing things that way. So essentially with Worldpackers, all you would have to do is book a flight. You can get a cheap flight into Europe or anywhere, and then could hop around Europe, different countries, doing these volunteering experiences, and in return you'd be getting free accommodation, free food, and you'd also be having really unique experiences that would teach you a lot of different things which you wouldn't get if you were just going on a normal holiday or just traveling without the volunteering. I think volunteering abroad is really, really rewarding. Number 3 on my list is house sitting / pet sitting, and the website that I recommend for this is called Trusted House Sitters. So when I was traveling in Asia, I met my friend Chloe, who's from Australia, and Chloe told me about this house sitting thing which I'd never really heard of before. Also, I do still have a cold, so I'm sorry if I sound a bit weird. So my friend Chloe, I met her in Singapore, which again is a very expensive country, and she was getting to stay there for free because she was doing this house sit there, and she'd been traveling all around the world doing these house sits. So when people are going on holiday or going away, they put an advert on this website, Trusted House Sitters, and they look for people to come and watch their house, to watch their pets while they're away. And you can do this all around the world in so many countries. My next one that I'm going to mention is working on a summer camp. So working on a summer camp abroad is a great way to travel and spend your summer in a different country without having a lot of money to go with, and also you do get paid at the end of your camp experience. I've heard so many good things about Camp America, and it's been on my list for the longest time, but because you've got to be available for the whole summer from, I think it's like the end of May, beginning of June to August, I've not been able to do it because I've always had something planned during the summer, and I thought maybe next year would be my year to go to camp. However, I've got Taylor Swift at the end of June that I've got to be in the UK for, and I'm absolutely not missing out on my Taylor Swift concert, so I'm not going to be able to do camp next year, but some of you guys might be able to. Obviously I've not done it myself, so I can't tell you loads about it, but I do know that you spend about 9 weeks, I think it is, somewhere on a camp in America as a camp counsellor for the kids. I'm pretty sure from what I've heard, at the end of your summer you get paid about £1,500 or £2,000, somewhere within that mark. Obviously I've not been, so I can't say exactly what you receive, but just from what I've heard from other people. So that's great as well, because you'd be having an amazing summer traveling, working in America, and then at the end of it, when you're ready to go home, you get paid, so it's like you're going home with money as well. Or obviously you can continue traveling with the money that you've just received, so I think it's a win-win really. My next one, again, this is not something I've done myself, but it's something that I've heard of from a lot of people. It is quite specific, so I'm not going to talk loads about it because it's not something that I personally know a lot about, but it is called woofing. Basically, woofing is a specific type of work exchange that's related to working on a farm. So it's really for people who are very interested in the environment, in like eco-living. I've got a friend, Holly, who I went to uni with. We went to Paris together last year, if you saw that video. But Holly is vegan and she's very into the environment and like farm life and stuff, so I think she did it for a few months in France and she really enjoyed it, but obviously it's quite a niche thing and I'm not really a massive like outdoorsy like farm girl. It is an extra way that you get to live abroad for free, essentially. The next one that I've got, this is one of the best ways to travel and work abroad at the same time, and this is the working holiday visas. So a few countries in the world do this thing called a working holiday visa, where essentially they make it very easy for young people, usually between the ages of 18 and 35, to move abroad to their country, get a job, work out there and travel. So the top countries that are very famous for working holiday visas are Australia, New Zealand and Canada. You guys have probably seen at the minute on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, a lot of people, so many people have been moving over to Australia, and they've all been doing it using the working holiday visa program. It's a really easy way to move to another country, work there, save some money and then travel with the money that you've earned. So again, if you've not got a lot of money to begin with, this is a great place to start, because countries like Australia are very well known for having really high wages. So a lot of people move there on the working holiday, save a lot of money and then either travel with it or bring it back to England and buy a house or whatever they want to do with it. And this is something that I really want to do within the next couple of years. I'm super interested in doing a working holiday in Australia and Canada. My next way to travel for less is again related to working abroad, and that is teaching English as a foreign language. I had to say that 5 times because I kept getting tongue-tied. Teaching English as a foreign language, TEFL. So if you're a native English speaker or if you speak English to to a really high level, then good news for you, because English is very, very highly valued in a lot of countries around the world, and a ton of countries are looking for native speakers to come over and teach English in their schools, help out with English classes, etc. A girl I used to work with did it in South Korea for 2 years with her boyfriend, and she earned enough money to come back and buy a house in England. So there's a lot of money to be made if you were working abroad in the right countries. Also, my friend who I'm going to Taylor Swift with next year is currently doing teaching in Thailand. There are so many opportunities for teaching English abroad, and you don't have to be a qualified teacher, you don't have to have teaching experience. You can do a course online, which I've done myself. I've actually not finished mine still, but it's called TEFL. It's an online course that qualifies you to teach English as a foreign language. My next one that I've got is again to do with getting free accommodation while traveling, because when you're traveling, accommodation is probably going to be your biggest expense. So if you can get free accommodation, that then means that you need a lot less money to go traveling with. So this one is called homestays, and essentially homestays are a type of cultural exchange where you go to live with a local family and stay in their home. You might be thinking, why would people want you to do that, or what would they get in exchange? But again, if you're a native English speaker, that's very highly valued, and a lot of people want to have the chance to speak to someone who's native English to practice their English with. They might want to hear about England or wherever you're from, your culture and stuff. So that's the kind of exchange that you offer in return for the free accommodation. My next one, this is probably a bit more of an obvious one that a lot of people have heard of, but I do think people overlook it as well, and that is being a cabin crew. If you're a flight attendant, an air hostess, whatever you want to call it, obviously your job is flying to different countries, so you're going to get to see a lot of countries, you're going to get to travel. But another option is being cabin crew for an airline abroad. So for example, if you're a cabin crew for Emirates, once you get hired, that includes a relocation package to Dubai, which is where Emirates is based. So not only will you be traveling for work, but you'll also get to live in Dubai in accommodation paid for by Emirates. You also get tax-free wages and a ton of other benefits, so it might be worth looking into being a flight attendant for a company like Emirates, which is based abroad and which includes a relocation package like that. And then my final tip is to work a season abroad. So working a season is basically going to work abroad for a short period of time for a ski season. Ski seasons are the most popular ones that I can think of, but I did see a girl on TikTok who went to work a season in Lapland, and I think she was doing something like to do with like guest relations, so it's not all skiing related. These are particularly popular over like the Christmas season. I also think working a season would be a good option if you've never really travelled or worked abroad before and you don't want to make the leap of moving abroad or going abroad for like a year or a long period of time. Working a season of like 2-3 months might be a good option for you to see if you like it and if it's something that you want to do like more long term. So that is all of my tips for this video on how to travel for less or with little money. I do have other options that I can probably think of. If you want to know some more, if you want a part 2, let me know in the comments. Also let me know in the comments if there's any of these things that you're going to try out yourself in the future, because I would love to hear what your travel plans are. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on my next videos, and I will see you all really soon.